Yesterday, I saw a tweet from a gentleman. His name is Hamid Ahmadi. He writes, "Not complaining, but this is what I got last night for dinner, and the next meal is 12 hours later. Refugee life might be safe, but never easy and favorable. Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas. Hashtag Afghan refugees. Hashtag Afghanistan." And then I wrote, "How about, quote, thank you. Be grateful, have some humility, and exhibit some dignity. No one owes you anything. I'm a refugee from Lebanon, and I'm forever grateful." Well, of course, the great majority of people understood the gist of my position and were very favorable and positive. But as you might expect, I received a unbelievable onslaught of hate. You know, attacking me. I'm a fat pig. I'm a Zionist. You're a professor. Your students should be ashamed, or I pity your students. This was actually sent to me by a professor when I challenged him on how much lacking in integrity it is to, instead of attacking or critiquing my position, he brings my students into it, which has nothing to do with anything that we're discussing. He deletes his tweet. And so I was attacked for being a Zionist, a Jew, a fat person. I'm hardly that at this point. I'm almost at the right actuarial weight, which says a lot because that threshold is not an easy one to achieve. Look at that jawline. Uh, so all kinds of hateful stuff. What do you know, you Jew? What do you know about this guy's running away from? He's a war refugee. Exactly, I hear you, because when we ran away from Lebanon during the Civil War as Lebanese Jews, we weren't war refugees. We were solar panel refugees. My parents said, "We can't take it anymore. Lebanon is too sunny. There is not enough solar panel distribution. We're out of here." So we don't know anything about being a war refugee, having escaped the most brutal civil war that the world has ever seen as Jews. We don't know about war refugees. Gratitude is what elevates the human spirit, right? If you are invited to someone's house for dinner, you exhibit gratitude, right? That's what a good guest is. You exhibit gratitude if you're religious to the Almighty for giving you the life that you have. You exhibit gratitude to your friends, to your spouse, to having the children that you have. So, gratitude, the mindset of gratitude, is an incredibly healthy and liberating way to live life, because again, it's easy to be mired in all sorts of negativity. So we have to stop and be grateful. So someone like me who didn't know whether I was going to survive the next minute, when I arrived to Canada, I don't get angry because it's cold outside, or the government didn't roll out a red carpet for me, or I didn't get enough food, or we didn't get enough social welfare. I'm infinitely grateful from then till today for having been given a door to a new life where I can actually live a life of dignity. My parents, who came when they were already, well into their adulthood, coming from a life of accomplishments in Lebanon. We were a well entrenched family. They had to start from zero. I'm not going to bore you and tell you all of the stories of despair that my parents went through as they try to live their lives here dignified without relying on 1 cent from the Canadian government, because they have sharaf, they have dignity. So for this young man to arrive in the refugee camp and to, "I'm not going to complain," but then proceeds to complain, shows a lack of sharaf. That doesn't mean that he is not worthy of receiving a calorically appropriate meal, assuming that that photo was accurate, of course. But it just shows that if this is what you do, right? You get on Twitter with a cell phone, and that's how you engage your host nation. That probably doesn't say good things about you. And all the people who've hated on me simply demonstrate how hollow their souls are. I don't need to be lectured about the necessity of having an open heart to people who are fleeing disastrous situations in their homelands. I am the definition of a war refugee. But what I don't do is I don't walk around the minute that I step in and say, bruh, calories? I don't do that. I might bite my tongue. Maybe I'll eat my tongue as calories because I want to be dignified and just kiss the ground on which I'm now walking freely, where I'll be able to raise my children freely and do that instead of complaining about calories. Maybe it was a distribution problem that happened in this thing. Maybe it was a logistical problem, right? So again, no one is contesting the fact that refugees should be treated nicely, but no one owes you anything. Canada did not owe me anything. Canada let me in out of the kindness of their heart. I am forever grateful to Canada. I have greater allegiance to Canada than to anywhere else. Why? Because Canada is my home. It's the Canadian values that allowed me to come here, and therefore I defend those truly liberal values, not the values that we have now in Canada, which are anything but liberal. They are illiberal. Read The Parasitic Mind if you want to know about the illiberal nature that defines our current zeitgeist. But that's what having sharaf is to have honor, to say, yeah, maybe today I'm going to go to bed hungry, but at least I'm not going to be decapitated. And to the imbeciles who say, but bruh, it's the US who did this to Afghanistan. So shut your mouth, fat Jew. Don't you think that the US owes the Afghan people? Right. Because until the US went to Afghanistan, spent trillions of dollars, 4,000 plus lives, if I have my numbers correctly, Afghanistan was the model of a peaceful civic society, right? We needed Noam Chomsky and the evil United States graduate course to teach us that until the US meddled in Afghan politics and Afghan geopolitics, Afghanistan was a beautiful place. So the amount of vitriol, the amount of hatred that I've received simply for saying a message that any decent people would consider it to be laudable. When you come in as a refugee from a place that is the definition of the hell on earth, you are so grateful, you are so thankful that you will live another day, that probably the caloric restrictions of that meal might not be cause for you to go on Twitter and complain. That's what a noble person of sharaf would do. Okay? Remember, when the EMOP comes for you, don't back down. Activate your inner honey badger, activate your righteous moral indignation, and hit hard, hit mightily with all of the conviction of your principles. Take care, everybody. Cheers. And oh, by the way, the people who tag my employer, I hope that one day there will be a law that punishes you to the deepest extent allowable. Because there is nothing more execrable than to take a perfectly reasonable debate. I hold one view, you hold another, and then like men of honor, we come into the debate of ideas and we hash it out. My employer has nothing to do with this. And yet, I would never tag your employer because you are a cowardly, hateful imbecile. I rise above it. You know why? Because I have sharaf. Take care, everybody. Cheers.